Well, happy Vlogmas Day 19, guys. And today we are finally getting around to making Christmas bread. Are you guys excited? I am super excited to finally be making this video for you. This is a bread that is created from Noreen's kitchen. Her famous perfect sandwich bread loaf. So I'm gonna leave a link up above in that corner. I hope it's in that corner to her video on how to make the perfect sandwich bread loaf. All this is a kicked up version of that. I kind of was playing around with it one day and kind of fell into this recipe. It's fantastic. It's nothing, you know, ornate or, you know, complicated. Everyone can make this. I think this is the perfect loaf to make for like Christmas morning with toast and jam, or you could even cut it up and make one of those French toast bakes out of it. I have a video of that. I'll leave that up there too. I believe it was Pioneer Woman's cinnamon. I don't know if it had apple in it or not. It was a cinnamon French toast bake, and it was super good. So you could even use that, use this in that. So, so many wonderful things, but with the holidays and people visiting and a lot of people having company, this is just one of those loaves of bread, I think, which is just perfect to have on hand. So, let's make it, shall we? All right, guys, super simple. We are going to start with 1.5 cups of warm water. Okay, to this we are going to add 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. I use SAF brand. It's my favorite. All right, to this we are going to add 4 cups of, I'm going to be using all-purpose flour because I'm going to put this bread loaf in my pullman pan. If you want a loftier bread, you can definitely use bread flour for this. It's totally up to you. I don't want it to be that lofty, otherwise it will come out of my pan. So I'm just going to be using regular all-purpose flour, plus that's what majority of you guys have, and I want to keep this recipe really simple so every one of you can make this for Christmas. So 4 cups of all-purpose flour. All right, to this we're also going to be adding a teaspoon of salt. Then to that we're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of milk powder. Now, I've often asked if you can substitute with regular milk, and the problem with that is milk has an enzyme in it that will kill yeast. This has been pretty much dehydrated and processed at such a high temperature that it kills that enzyme. So this is much better to use if you're going to be making bread. And I have a video on where you can find that. I'll post that right on top because Matt and I actually took you to Kroger shopping with us, and we show you exactly where to find it and what it looks like. So that might help you if you're on the hunt for some milk powder. All right, to this we're also going to be adding 2 tablespoons of sugar. You can use honey if you want to use honey instead of sugar. If I were adding honey, I would add probably 1/4 cup. Okay, to this we're also going to be adding 2 tablespoons of softened butter. And I have a little bit of honey left. You can add a little bit if you want. I like and quite enjoy the taste of honey in my bread. So I'd say if I had a guess, I'm going to add about a teaspoon. This is like 1/4, but I have a little bit of honey that I've got to use up because it is getting hard on me. And there's just a tiny bit left. So I would say, I don't know, I would add maybe, I think that's about between a teaspoon and a tablespoon. Okay, now this is where it gets fun. This is where we add the little bits of extra here. So what I'm going to be using is my homemade vanilla extract. I will try to leave a link to that as well up above for you guys. About a teaspoon. can add a little bit more if you want. It's Christmas. Let's add 2 teaspoons because to me you can never have enough homemade vanilla extract in anything. So we'll add that. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to add that in there. And then we are going to be adding a teaspoon, and let's see if I can get this focused so you guys can see exactly what I'm using. This is orange extract, and it is fantastic. And this, for me, is what makes Christmas bread Christmas bread. So a teaspoon of that. We are also going to be using the orange extract in our icing, which is just going to be incredible. So with that, we're going to go ahead and add, I'm going to see if I have my half cup measuring cup here. Now this is up to you on how much you want to add. I'm going to add probably, well, that's a half a cup of raisins. I'm probably going to add a cup of raisins, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and probably add a cup of dried cranberries. As you can see that, I'm using craisins. I'm going to use a cup of this. You could add cherries to this if you wanted to. But I think the raisins and the cranberries, are just fantastic. And that is what goes into Christmas. I'm calling it Christmas bread, guys. Because to me, it tastes like Christmas. Like if Christmas had a flavor, it would be this bread. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got my dough hook on. I'm going to lift up my my mixer here. And we are going to knead this now until it comes together. Once it comes together, I'm going to set my timer to 5 minutes. And we are going to knead it for 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set my timer now. I'm just not going to start it. So I'm going to have you looking into my bowl, because this is where I think it's most challenging for those who are just new to making their own bread, is what consistency should it look like? What should it look like? What should it feel like? So I'm going to let you look inside my bowl so we can do this together so your bread will come out perfect, all right? Okay, so we're going to turn this on. There's speed 1. We're going to put it to speed 2. You never want to go beyond a speed 2 when you're making bread on a Kitchenaid mixer. And we're just going to let this kind of knead together. And when it comes together, I will bring you back and I will show you what it looks like before we start our 5-minute kneading process. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like when your dough comes together and you know that you have the right amount of everything when your bowl is clean and it comes clean and all the dough comes off of the side. If you notice that you have a lot of flour stuck to the side, you can add a little bit more if you notice that your dough is just a little too wet. But this is perfect. So the humidity in my kitchen is right on today. So we're going to go ahead and turn this back on. I've set my timer for 5 minutes. I'm going to start it. I'm going to let this knead up for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to bring you back and I'm going to show you what my dough ball looks like before we let it rise for the first time for 1 hour. Okay guys, my timer has gone off and we are going to go ahead and stop that. I'm going to lower my bowl here, and if you can see inside my bowl how clean the sides have become, that is perfect dough for you. It's still nice and soft. Get rid of that. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this off my mixer and bring you guys right over here to my board here. And we're going to go ahead and just pull this. Now if you have a scraper, use a scraper to get that off. I'm going to grab some oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you want. Just a little oil. You can even use spray if you have spray. Here's our dough ball, all right? Let me get you down here. All right. and it feels beautiful. Make sure your hands are extremely clean for this. What I do with my dough balls is I like to pull and pinch in the back. Pull and pinch and kind of tuck it. And that will give me a nice beautiful ball of dough. If you guys can see that, you can see the cinnamon flecks. You can see some of that homemade vanilla flecks in there from my vanilla beans that are breaking down. And it just, it smells incredible. And if you want to go ahead and throw in half and half all-purpose flour with half whole wheat, you can do that. I like to do 3 cups all-purpose with 1 cup of whole wheat flour, because then you get the softness of the white, but you get, you know, you get some whole wheat in there. That's also a great option. Like I said, I'm keeping this real simple, just so that all of you can make this, and some of you might not have whole wheat on hand, but most of you have all-purpose flour, especially right now when everybody's making Christmas cookies. So today I'm just going to keep it simple for everyone to be able to learn how to do this, but go ahead and feel free to, you know, switch it up. Whole wheat is great for this bread. All right, so with that, now what I did is I put a little bit of oil in the bottom of my bowl. I mixed my dough ball, and then I flipped it and I mixed it again so that it's coated lightly in oil. You can use coconut oil, you can use whatever kind of oil you want. You just don't want your dough to dry out as it's sitting here for an hour. It'll stick to your bowl, it'll just be harder to handle. So putting it and coating it with just a little bit of oil proves to be a little bit easier. And then I'm gonna just take a, I have just a tea towel here. And so what I'm gonna do is, because it's so cold outside, and I think it's like 7 degrees out, and finding a warm place is proving tricky for me because my oven light is out in my oven. If you have an oven light, go ahead and turn your oven light on, stick your bowl in the oven. You're not gonna have your oven on or anything, but the light of the oven is the perfect temperature to rise bread. My oven light needs to be replaced. Matt's got to replace it for me. So what I'm going to do, because my kitchen is cool, is I'm going to take you over and kind of clean up my mess here and make room. All right. And for those of you asking about Mason, thank you so much. He just was taken by Matt to our emergency pediatric doctor. We have a regular family physician, and we also have a friend of my husband's who's actually a pediatric emergency doctor. And he has pharyngitis with secondary lymph node swelling. So he needs an antibiotic because it's the doctor said it looks to him like a bacterial, and was it a bacterial? No, yeah, bacterial infection. So I just got the text. So Mason will be on the mend here soon once he gets his medicine. So thank you so much for asking and checking in on him. I so appreciate you guys. So this is what I'm going to do. Now I have under counter lights. As you see right there, these little pot lights under my counter. I am going to go ahead and put this bowl right under my light. So this is going to give it the heat from the light, just a little bit of what it's going to need to rise. So I'm going to give you a quick peek of my dough. I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour. And we will come back in 1 hour and we will shape this. We'll put it in the pan. We'll rise it a second time, and then we will get this little thing in the oven and bake it up, and my house is going to smell incredible. The kids are going to come home and they're going to think I'm burning a candle. It's going to smell so good. And then we will make icing and we will cover it. And I'm telling you guys, if you need a Christmas gift for a neighbor, a friend, someone at church, anyone, this is the perfect gift. I'm going to stop blabbing. I just love talking to you guys. All right, see you back in an hour. I'm gonna go do laundry. Okay guys, so it has been an hour. My timer just went off. And there is my bread. Of course, it's kind of hard to notice that it's risen in this bowl because this is a 7-quart bowl. And this is just one loaf of bread. And it always looks so small in this bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead. Hopefully you guys can see this. And I'm just going to punch it down. And then I'm gonna bring it out. And what I like to do is take my pan. Now I'm using a Pullman pan, all right? Because I want a nice square sandwich bread. So what I like to do is I like to shape this out to the size of my pan. As even as I can. Right, and then you guys can see that, hopefully there we go. Then I'm just going to go ahead and roll this up tightly so that it's got a nice tight crumb. That's another thing I love about this Pullman pan, is that it will, because it's got a lid, it will give you a really tight crumb. Then I'm going to go ahead and pinch and seal the seam of the bread. Okay, and then you can just kind of roll it. All right, Pullman pan, we're gonna go ahead and take off the lid. And I have the USA Pullman pan, if you can see it there. So it is non-stick, so you don't have to spray it or anything like that. The more I've used this pan, the more I've gotten used to it. So it's non-stick inside. Go ahead and put your bread loaf in there. Oh, it smells so good. Then I'm gonna go ahead and press it down. I like to tuck the ends under just so that the ends are pretty. Go ahead and push this down into my loaf pan. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to set this on top of my oven so that it can warm. It's going to rise a second time for 30 minutes. So let's set my timer, my little broken timer here. Let's go ahead, let this rise for 30 minutes. Okay guys, so my timer just went off. I'm just gonna show you my bread inside has risen. It smells so good. So now I'm gonna put it in a 350 degree oven for about 30-35 minutes, and then we'll take it out. I'm gonna let it sit. Now with these, at least in my experience using the Pullman pan, sometimes if you try to take the lid off right away, when you pull it immediately out of the oven, the lid will get stuck. It's just really hot, especially if your bread has risen to the top. If you let it just sit for 5 minutes, it should slide right off. So I'm gonna let this bake 35 minutes. In my oven, it's about 35 minutes. 350 degrees, I'll bring it out, I'll let it sit for 5 minutes, then I'll bring it back over here, and I'll slide it open, and we'll take a look. I'm so excited. All right, see you in a half hour, guys. Okay, guys, so this baby just came right out of the oven, and here we go. There is the lid. I'll put it down over here. Now I've just got a rack out here. I'm just gonna plop my bread onto, and flip it back over, and it is, woo, beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. So I'm gonna allow this to cool for about 15 minutes or so. I don't want it super hot when I put the icing on, because the icing will just kind of melt right off, but I still want it to be a little warm. So I am going to just let this sit, and I'm going to bring you back to my mixer, and we are going to make a wonderful orange frosting for this. All right, or I should say icing, orange icing. All right, let's go back to my mixer. All right, guys, so let's put my clean bowl back on my mixer. Lock it in. I'm gonna go ahead and get my wire whisk out and get that attached. Okay, so this recipe is gonna call for, and I'm just gonna kick my whisk to the back a little bit. This recipe calls for 2 1/4 cups of powdered sugar. Okay, this also calls for 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And I like making, now you can make this recipe without using the butter, but I like it with the butter. It just adds more of a richness to it. Okay, and I'm also going to be using 3 tablespoons of whole milk. You can use water, but I just find that the milk is a bit, there we go, a bit richer. And then I'm going to be adding 2 teaspoons of my homemade vanilla extract. And then the secret ingredient, we're going back to using the orange extract, and we're going to add 1 teaspoon of this orange extract in here. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and lift this up and give this a little turn, and we will see if we need to add any additional liquid or powder in here. Okay, now I'm just going to bring this down. I'm going to kick this to the back a little bit. And then I'm just going to scrape down my bowl. Now I've got a big bowl here. My mixer is a 7-quart. So it's a pretty good size bowl. If you have a smaller stand mixer, you probably won't have, you might not have to do this, but I'm going to scrape down mine, get back up, and hopefully you can see in there. And let's give this another mix. Now I'm going to add a little bit more milk to it because I want it a little thinner, not much, a little bit at a time, so you get it to the consistency you want. That, and I think that is the consistency I want. I want to be able to drizzle it. See that? See how that's drizzling off of the whisk? Yep, that is looking good. And then let me scrape as much of it off as I can, and then give this a little taste. It is perfect. Let's wash my hands. Oh, it's so good. The orange and the homemade vanilla, oh, it's just so good. All right, so let's get this off of my mixer, and I'll meet you back over by the bread. All right, guys, so let's go ahead, and here is my icing. You see, it's perfect. And let's go ahead, I think I'll get a spoon. Let's get some icing on this. Okay, sorry, I had to let my son in. And now Mina is awake. Oh, the timing of being a mom. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and drizzle this icing on while my bread is still warm here. I'm just going to keep adding this drizzle as it kind of goes off the sides. And kind of just push it and it'll drizzle down. See that? Now my kids like a lot of icing. This is one thing that they like a lot of icing on. You can toast this. You don't even have to toast it. It's so good. But toasting this on a Christmas morning or Christmas Eve when you've got a lot of things to do that day with a cup of hot tea, or the kids like hot chocolate, or like me, cup of coffee. It is a beautiful thing.
Mama.
Hi, baby. All right, one last scoop here. One last scoop, and we will be good. All right, so let me take you off of the tripod here, and you guys can have a look at that bread all the way around. There you have it, Christmas bread. So good. Now, normally I would let this sit and cool completely, but it's been one of those crazy days because I'm taking care of a sick baby here. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna try to cut this up while it's on this stand here, just so I can slice into it for you so you guys can see it. So let me actually adjust you on your tripod here. Okay, there we go. How's that? All right, so let me see if I can slice into this without disrupting it too much. Now you should always let bread cool completely before you slice into it, because it does affect how the crumb is, if it dries out, if you kind of smush the crumb, all that kind of stuff. In order to have a really nice moist bread, you really want to let it cool completely before you slice into it. But how can we wait? All right, you ready? I'm gonna just pop this open, and there you have it, guys. Christmas bread. Isn't it pretty? It's just such a pretty loaf. Now the crumb will be a little bit better if you let this cool. This is really warm still. But the crumb on it, especially if you're using a Pullman pan, is so dense that it just makes a perfect slice, in my opinion, of bread. Here's the other side. All those raisins and cranberries, the flavor of the orange mixed with the vanilla. Oh, it's just incredible, you guys. And it's just so pretty. Like I said, it's perfect to give as a gift. I'm actually going to try to make a loaf for my ex-husband and his girlfriend, who are hosting a Christmas Eve party. So I figured if she's going to have a Christmas Eve party, she's probably not going to be up to, you know, maybe making a Christmas breakfast the next morning right away. So a loaf of this bread might, you know, kind of hold the kids off for her. And they can eat a slice of this while they're all opening their presents on Christmas morning. So that's my plan, is to also make her a loaf. But that is it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you give it a try, let me know. Come back, post, let me know. Better yet, if you make videos, make a video of yourself making this bread. I would love to see how you like it. Again, you know, you can play it up. If you don't like cranberries, if you don't like raisins, you can eliminate those. You could add anything that you wanted in this. My kids are not a fan of nuts because, you know, they're kids. But if you wanted to add nuts to this, like some walnuts or some, you know, anything that you want, just play around with it. Throw it in the dough. And like me, you might come out with something fantastic. And this is absolutely one of our favorite breads. It's not something I make all the time, but it definitely is a treat, and it's a fantastic for a busy morning. So, all right, guys, that is it. I will see you guys back here tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 20, I think. We're heading towards Christmas now, and I will definitely be making gingerbread here soon, old-fashioned gingerbread for you guys. So I will see you back here tomorrow. All right, bye, guys. Okay, I came out here to see how it tasted, and he already took the end of the bread and ate it already. What'd you do? Inhale it?
Yeah, it was good.
Was it good? Was it the perfect Christmas bread? Tastes like Christmas, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Christmas in a bread. I can't believe you inhaled it. 17-year-olds.